We know her as former congressional candidate Lynz Piper-Loomis. Today, we welcome back author and actionvist Lynz Piper-Loomis, who has just released her new book that is already getting great reviews on Amazon, titled I Am Silent No More. It's good to have you back.
Well, thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
All right, so now you've got the primaries are in your rearview mirror. Those days are over, but now you're looking to new horizons with this book. And this is something that is a passion of yours. Maybe you can tell our audience what this book is about and why you decided to write about it.
Yeah, so truthfully, I've been working on this book for several years. But it was really painful to tell the story. And it came out after the election because I had time. Mm-hmm. And the team that we've been working on this, it's just been amazing. But we're fighting against trafficking. I was personally trafficked through the CPS system. And so I want people to understand that it's not as great as the movie is Taken. Trafficking doesn't always look like that. In fact, it looks a lot different than that in a lot of circumstances.
If I can stop you, CPS system, what does that mean?
Child Protective Services System.
Oh, I see. Okay. And you were in this system for how long?
I actually was not in a foster home. I was in an accident. Technically, my mom and I both died, and God saved my life and brought me back. I talk about that in the book. But basically, I was taken through the system, transferred across state lines. There was no ad litem, no caseworker, but those funds that were used by the state to care for me were transferred when family members decided they didn't want to take care of me, and I was transferred to another set of family members. But the exchange, we know the exchange of something or someone for profit mm-hmm. is trafficking. And I was exchanged, all of the resources that were used to care for me were they used for themselves. I was placed into domestic servitude, and I was raped, restrained and unrestrained for 3.5 years.
3.5 years?
Yes.
And how old were you?
It was from the age of 13 to 16 and a half.
Oh my God. And did you have any extended family that you could turn to, or were you
No, they were my extended family. And I didn't understand that being isolated, cut off, I was placed into my aunt's maternity clothes, blood-stained underwear. And while they took money and sold the things that we had, I was only able to recoup a small portion of my inheritance at 18, and it was in the hands of their attorney. I only had a certain amount of time to reclaim it.
Oh
so
my God.
I didn't even understand that this was a form of trafficking. The federal government gives money to states for foster care, and each child is worth approximately $1 million.
Wow. Now, we know you as candidate Lynz. We know you as caretaker and wife of combat veteran Lynz. Do people know this Lynz before this book came out? Do you talk about this experience?
I did. I talked about it on the campaign trail. I've shared my testimony with other people. I've spoken up in different groups. And then I've been down to the border. I don't know if you knew that, but on the campaign trail, I spent a good part of my time over 13 days down at the border, 2 separate trips. I've seen the rape trees. I know how children are being drugged, tattooed, branded, and marked, sold by the cartel for organ harvesting, sex, drug, and human trafficking, and how women are also raped. So, and that's happening in our state. They're being trafficked here, mm-hmm. you know?
Because I think a lot of people, they think the border, well, that's happening over there. But no, I mean, our neighbor to the south in Atlanta is one of the biggest hubs internationally for human trafficking. So being our neighbor, the neighbor to the north, South Carolina, how many victims do you think pass through this state on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis?
We can't actually track the numbers because we don't have a solid task force in this state. I was just actually speaking to someone. I mean, the numbers are horrific. From Atlanta, we have a hub inside of our state that they transport all the girls from Atlanta into this particular region of our state, and then they disperse out. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got yachts, you've got airplanes, you've got automobiles, you've got all types and modes of transportation. Our borders opened us up to the cartel who have exploded in our state. Mm-hmm. You've got different mafia groups. You've got the Chinese.
So what are you hoping to accomplish with this book?
Number one, to give people hope, and even in where we are here in America, and to know that our foundation in God and our Constitution is pivotal, and it's key, but also to give people the steps that God gave me to overcome. not to just sit back and watch, but to get engaged, to get involved, to stop whatever is happening right now in our country to save it.
And I know
the
that
people
faith
are the
is,
solution.
And I know that faith is a big part of your life, and I know that that's jumped out of the pages for a lot of readers who have already put their reviews on Amazon saying that they just love the fact that you are tying your faith so deeply to this experience, not that to let it break you, but to give you the strength to make a change. So now that you've written this book, now that it's published for people to read, what's next for you?
Well, I'm already working with other organizations, but I recently started a PAC, and we're going to be tackling and ending human trafficking, modern day slavery.
And I know that Alan Wilson, our Attorney General in Colombia, he said that he has been working tirelessly on this. So where do you think that the state is falling short?
So I want to see training for our law enforcement division, and not just awareness, but in skill set. We need to be investing in that. I look at the AG's site and I see a lot of fluff, but where's the fruit? We see that we're increasing in trafficking, not decreasing. And so that tells me that we need a stronger support system in there, stronger boots on the ground. We have a woman on the front lines who's been busting her chops, Brooke Burris. We need more people like her, leading those things up.
Well, I want to thank you for being the voice of so many voiceless and for sharing your book with us, and best of luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
We're back after this.